So before we begin, I need to thank Sunny because I just gave him one line of introduction. I just said, Associate Director for Tribal Transformation India, that's it. And then anything else that he's added, that's all on him. So thank you to that. Before we start and before the entire thing starts, there are a few things I need to say thank you for. And there's another, I don't know if it's a statutory warning or something from the authority that I've got a good word from. So thank you to Rohina and the team for inviting me here today. It was wonderful. And also on this chilly morning, coming in at 9 o'clock, being greeted by Sunny and the worship team, I think that was like the best way to get into the spirit of today. Now, to the warning. I know all of you are here for the lunch. Even I'm here, that's the reason I came. Now, with that being said, for you to receive lunch, and this is by good notice from Rohina, from Shobha Auntie, and not really Sam Uncle, but mainly Shobha Auntie, if you can look at her. Unless there's active participation today, there is no lunch for those, and she's watching you. We are in a school auditorium. I was usually the backbencher, and now being in the front, I get to see all the mischief makers, and Shobha Auntie has said anyone who doesn't participate will not be getting lunch. So that's not on me, that's all on you. So that's how it's going to be today. And with that being said, does anyone know what this thing behind me is? No, it's not a peep. Yeah, can you figure it out? Yeah, it was my name. Now this is why you're not going to get lunch. If you can't figure this out, there's no lunch. I have half an hour. Now, I got all day. Lunch is in, we're 11:15. Lunch is around 12 o'clock, so we got time. Anyone? Yeah. Okay, web minus a B. So, okay, let's do this together. I'm going to help you out. I'm going to be like the teacher today. Okay, so the first one is, what do you think the first one is? Huh? Why we love? No, add it together. So the last word you add it together. So why we love? No. It's a shrimp. Okay, Christ first part, second part. No. Yes. Who is it? The only person who's going to get lunch today. Extra lunch. Okay. So, why we love Christmas? And to be honest, I think the Sunday school did my entire sermon, so I don't think I need to be here. They completely, I don't have any more words left. My sermon was the Sunday school skit. They did the entire thing. They spoke about love, all the reflections of Christ's love. That's it. I have nothing. So that's why I did a little game with you. So for the next half an hour, you're just going to be looking at this blank screen and wondering, why is he here? Because Sunday school said they've done it. And now I'm blank. But with that being said, Christmas, what does Christmas mean to you? Is it gifts? Is it presents? Is it coming here for lunch today? Because I saw the invitation. Character of Christ. What else? What is Christmas to you? Reminder of his coming. Anything else? Love coming down? Anything? Hope, redemption. Christmas is one of the most special times of the year, right? You get the decoration on, you put the lights up, you do the entire thing. But it can also be the most challenging time. There are people who are lonely. It's one of the saddest times of the year if you look research-wise. Christmas is depressing. Some of you might be having a lovely Christmas lunch, other people are just alone. Christmas is one of the most challenging times because We think Christmas is special because of the lights, because of the presents, because of the gifts, or because of lighting candles, or just being here. No, Christmas is much more than that. Christmas is a reflection of God's love. And it's not just the ordinary love where we say, I love you, you love me, and we're a happy family. It's God's divine love. A love that has no words, a love that has no comparisons. It's a love that was reflected upon the cross. When Jesus died, that's another example of God's love for us. He didn't need to do that. He's God's son. He didn't need to come down. He didn't need to be here with us at all. But God sending his son was an act of that divine love. It was the giver of gifts giving us something that we have nothing. We cannot pay for it. We cannot be thankful enough for it. We don't have enough words of gratitude for what we've received. That love has no comparison in the world. And that love was promised to us way before the birth of Christ. Jesus' coming was a reflection of the promise of God given to man. It was God promising, I'm going to do something for you that will enable you to understand that I really love you. It's not just words. It's not just actions told to a prophet that he has to judge people. But this is a reflection of what love means. What real divine love means in enabling us to understand God is with us. So today, when we are thinking, are gifts enough? Or have I got the right clothes? Or have I done the most decoration? Or is my Christmas tree big enough? Let's think more than that. Let's think outside of it. Let's think what more or what else can we do? But the truth is, Christmas is more than just receiving gifts and presents, receiving new things. Like when we were younger, like for me, we used to make rose cookies or kalkal or and it was all done by hand. There was no cakes. It was all done by hand. And the cake thing, that whole fermentation would be like for months. They would put it in a tin and go and go and go. And then you make the cake and then you're distributing it to everyone. You go to everyone's house and half of them aren't Christian. You still went and you gave them and it was Merry Christmas or Happy Christmas. You shared that love with people. That was what it was. It wasn't you're in your close community. My church, I'm fine, I'm good. No, it's like, let me take this out and share. It's just a simple rose cookie. It's a simple plum cake. But it was taking it out to people and saying, Happy Christmas. Hope you have a great... It's just sharing that love. It's just a reflection. It doesn't need to be the most extravagant thing. Because we are celebrating what? What do we do with Christmas? We celebrate the birth of Christ and the hope that we receive through it, the hope and love that we receive. This extraordinary gift represents something that cannot be compared in the world. There's no words, no gift, no amount, anything we can pay for it. Jesus is the reason for the season, right? That's what we say. The birth was in a lowly manger. There was, not even today, no doctor, I don't think Dr. Sunil will allow any baby to be born in a manger today. I don't think that will be compliant to health and safety. Yeah? Birth was in a manger. But that was the greatest gift of God's redeeming love that we received. But it came for all who were faithful in the word of Christ, who were attracted by not the lights, not the glamour, but by the simple gift God gave of saying, I love you, I am here for you, I'm sending my son so that you can feel and experience this love of not knowing you're alone, you belong, that belongingness. So as we look at the passage for today, and that is here, and if you're able to read it, go ahead and read, that's fine, I have no problem. I've done the slides in a way that it is quite interactive, that it's like you guys are also involved. The eternal promise of God's love is seen in the promise given to Micah in Micah chapter 5 verses 2 to 5. If anyone can read it, that'd be helpful. Anyone? You don't need a mic. continue, please. Thank you.
And he will stand and shepherd his flock in the strength of the Lord, in the majesty of the name of the Lord his God. And they will live securely, for then his greatness will reach to the ends of the earth, and he will be our peace. Shalom.
So this prophecy of God was given to Micah 700 years before the birth of Christ. And at that time, Israel was in utter ruin. They had divided into two kingdoms. You had the northern kingdom, you had the southern kingdom. The northern kingdom had already fallen to Assyria, and the southern kingdom of Judea was corrupt by injustice. The throne of David seemed forgotten. The line of David is important. Why is the line of David important? Why would the line of David be important? Why would Bethlehem be important? The promise of God to David was from his line would be the next person who would be king. And the line of David, if we look in Matthew chapter 1, comes from the time of Abraham to David and then to Jesus. The line of David seemed forgotten. Yet in the midst of this judgment and despair, Micah comes with this prophecy to say there is still hope. There is still a way that we'll receive God's redeeming love. All is not lost. But 700 years ago, people were like, what are you talking about, Micah? There's nothing, there's ruin. Like everything's gone. Whatever God promised is not there anymore. And you're telling us there is hope, that we're able to receive God's love in the future. Is there something, like most of the times people thought the prophets were crazy because they were able to hear God's word while as normal people couldn't. So they're like, maybe you're just losing it. If there was a Niman's back then, they might have admitted them there. And the going rate at Niman's right now is you admit a person, might get around, I think 1,000 rupees was back in the day. Might be a little more if you admit a patient. But maybe they thought Micah was crazy. Micah's just saying things out of thin air that God really loves us and he's going to come and save us. And like out of Bethlehem, of all places, there's going to be a person who's going to come and rescue us. Like, they thought he's lost it. Centuries later, if you turn to Galatians chapter 4, verses 5 and 6, 4 and 5. I haven't got this slide, I'm sorry about that. So in Galatians chapter 4 and 5, now this is 700 to 800 years later. Now this is after the birth of Christ. In Galatians chapter 4, verses 4, it says, "But when the time had fully come, God sent his son, born of a woman, born under law, to redeem those under the law, that we might receive the full rights of sons." Now here is Paul, many years after the birth and death of Jesus Christ, saying the same exact words that Micah was uttering in Micah chapter 5. And they're like, are you sure this is the same thing? Is this going to really happen? Wait. Can you, just stay. Third slide, please. Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Now there are two voices. One is prophetic from Micah. One is an apostle speaking, declaring the same one truth. At Christmas, God's promise is fulfilled. His timing is perfect. God's love was revealed to all mankind, that we are not alone, that we are not to be in shame. As we read in Micah chapter 5, verse 2, it said, can you do me a favor? Can you just keep this? I move my hands around a lot, so these thick thumbs, fiddly thumbs, fat, stubby thumbs, whatever you want to call it, doesn't help me. The previous slide, please. The other way. Yeah, thank you. Sorry about that. Technical glitches are not my favorite thing, but we work around them. Because there's still lunch, so you still have time. We're still good. Okay, so in Micah chapter 2, the little town of Bethlehem, the birthplace of King David, would be the birthplace of the greater king than David. Bethlehem, which means the house of bread, was a small, unimportant town. Now, can you imagine God had chosen Judea, or if he had chosen Jerusalem? That's like the big cities. That would have been the capital city. That's like having the birth in Bangalore, but you're saying the birth's going to be happening in HRBR there, or Horma, or somewhere that side. Like, that's small and insignificant. Right? Yeah. In the same way, God chose Bethlehem because that was going to be the humble beginning of a greater king. You don't need the glitz and glamour of being born in the house of a king or house of King Herod to be the greatness of receiving this great gift. God said, I will choose the most humble and the most weakest place, saying Bethlehem is going to be where the next great king, whose kingdom will last forever, will be coming from, whose love will be eternal, whose love will be never exchanged, whose love will be from everlasting to everlasting. That was God's promise. And the same promise and the same prophecy was uttered to King Herod when the three wise men come and ask him, where is this next great king? We have followed this light. If you look into the next slide, in Matthew chapter 2, records how this prophecy was fulfilled. When Herod was asked where the Messiah would be born, the chief priests and the scribes quoted from Micah chapter 2. They quoted from Micah chapter 2. In verses 1 to 6, especially in verses 4 and 5, it goes on to say, in this little town of Bethlehem, but you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judea, are by no means the least among the rulers, and out of you will come a ruler who will be the shepherd of my people. Herod here, it's in his kingdom, and he's asking, why isn't the king being born here? I'm the king. Who's this next person? Herod wants to be angry, but these wise men or these three kings have come from far and saying, this is the prophecy. This is the promise of God that's going to be fulfilled, that his love is going to land right here. And we've followed this star for ages. And now we've come here. Can you tell us? Can you give us the direction? Can you imagine you go up to the king and you ask, give me the direction to the next king, someone who's greater to you to come? It's like asking the police, can you tell me where the commissioner is? No, not really. They're just going to take money out of your pocket if you ask them anything. But it's asking the difficult questions. They asked the difficult question to the king at the time, saying, you're not the great king that we're here for. Where is the great king? Where is the reflection of God's love to come? They quoted the word, exactly what was written in the prophecy of Micah. They said, this is what the prophet said, and this is what we believe, and this is what we've read, and this is what we've seen in the stars. God's love is about to unfold, and this star is leading us to the birth of this child. Tell us where he is. The Messiah King is the one who will not only restore them, but he will also redeem them and rescue them, just as the king is coming from the Ancient of Days. And this passage in Micah chapter 5, verses 2 to 5, lays down the foundation of what we read, not just in John's passage, lays down the foundation of what Christianity is today. If you look at John chapter 1, and it says in verses 1 to 5, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has been made. In him was life, and that life was the light of man. The light shines in the darkness, but the darkness has not understood it. This was the king to come. He was going to be the bringer of light. He was going to be the bringer of hope. He was going to bring his love. During Christmas, or Sunday school songs, I love Sunday school songs. I remember Sunday school songs. There's this one Sunday school song, Shine, Jesus, Shine. Yeah? We have Savio here ready to go. I think Sunny's up for your job next time. He's going to be leading service. Shine, Jesus, shine. That's what this word was. It was the shining not just of his light, but it was the shining of Jesus' love in the darkness of this world. Micah's prophecy came at a time when the whole world was in darkness, when the land of Israel, when the promised land was divided. It wasn't united at all. Yes, we prayed for the United Arab Emirates, we prayed for the United Kingdom. But are we united as a church? Are we united as Christians? Yes, Christmas is a time we all come together, we all share gifts, share presents, watch the nativity. But what about the next? What happens after New Year? What happens after the whole celebration dies down? Are we sharing His love? Are we sharing the love of God with each other every single day, every single week? That's what the light of Christ means. That's what it says in John chapter 1 verses 5. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. If you look at other translations, it means the darkness hasn't understood. Darkness here doesn't just mean turning on the lights or turning off the lights. It means Satan doesn't understand God's plan. People, we don't understand it, but we have to trust and believe. This prophecy was there back then, but this is reality for us right now. We are experiencing God's love. We are in this love of God, but are we sharing it with others? Or are we just holding it in? Yes, this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. That's the song, right? But where are we shining it? All the kids, they had this song and they were doing the heart. Yes, but are we taking the heart of God and sharing that love with others? Or are we just keeping it within ourselves? Have you ever tried, I got to say, Roberta's wife, like that stubbing that light out, like a lot of people burn their hands, and I've done it a few times. But can you try and cover the light, like a candle light, with your bare hands like this for a long time? If it's a bigger candle, what's going to happen is you're going to burn on the inside. It's going to hurt you, and the light's going to seep through. In the same way, if we think as Christians we are saved because we've received this love, that's not enough. We're holding that in, and that love wants to break free. That love wants to shine in all the darkest parts. We are called to reflect God's love. That's what this promise of God coming down means, of Him sending His Son. It's taking Jesus into places where it hasn't been. It's coming from a humble beginning and saying, this is the King. It wasn't a proud, pompous person coming, riding on a chariot into Bethlehem during Palm Sunday. Jesus came on a donkey, and all He was greeted was with palm leaves and people's cloak. Not big trumpet calling, saying, here's the King to come. You didn't have violins playing, but you did play very well. Yeah, you didn't have that entire procession going on. It was just simple, humble beginning. That's what the prophecy in Micah is about. Humble beginnings lead to the great King. Humble beginnings lead to us experiencing in God's love that we will never be able to comprehend. But we need to understand that love isn't just for us, but it's for everyone around us. It's taking and sharing, not just lighting a candle, but lighting that candle in everyone else's life by taking God's love. Jesus is not just love to us. Jesus is love to the world. Jesus' love shines in the darkest moments, in the darkest places. People don't need to be lonely. The love of Christ is able to warm us when we feel down. The love of Christ is there to restore us, to redeem us, to rescue us from who? Who do you think the love of Christ is here to rescue us from? Huh? Who do you think the love of Christ is here to rescue us from? Just think. God's love is here to rescue us from what or who? Ourselves. Forget about Satan. Satan is not even in the picture. When we get too comfortable thinking, yes, God's love is surrounding me, I'm encompassed by this love, Satan just puts one doubt or one thing of, let's boost your ego and let's see what happens. That love that we say, this little love of mine or this little light of mine that's going to shine, it's not going to shine anymore. It's going to be like how Roberta's wife was. It's going to get stubbed out by Satan. I'm sorry for picking on you. Micah's prophecy and what John says in this verse, it tells us this Messiah, this reflection of God's divine love is going to come and rescue us from darkness. Darkness doesn't understand. We don't even understand the full extent of this love that we've received. In a few weeks, we're going to be celebrating Christmas on Christmas Day. We just had a little bit about the Nativity. which shows the anguish and pain that Christmas is about. How can we forget that Jesus was born in a lowly, mangy manger with sheep, cow, goats, and the whole animal farm over there? There was no accommodation. There was nothing. It was just a smelly hay. There was no chair. There was on the floor. They were greeted with all the things that weren't fit for a baby's birth. But in that lowliness, what would we have done? What would we have done if Mary and Joseph were knocking at our doors in the middle of the night? Can you imagine someone coming to your house at, say, 12, 12:30, 1 o'clock, loudly banging or ringing the bell on your door? What would happen? One, your security guard would chase them away and saying, sorry, you're not welcomed here. Secondly, would you even take the call? I'm asking all of you, would you ever answer someone knocking at your door at 12 in the night? Any of you? Any of you brave enough to get up out of bed and go and open the door at 12 or 1 in the night? Anyone? No. See, even I'm scared of my wife. I will open the door, but I'm just asking all of you, would you ever open the door at 12 or 1 in the night? You are a brave person. I'm asking all the other people who are not brave. Unless we've got like a camera pointing to see whose face it is. Like there's that Cubo ad is there, right? They put it on the doorbell and you get to see the whole thing. I'm not here to promote or any of these security features and all that, but just imagine being in that state. Someone coming middle of the night and asking, can I get a room for my pregnant wife, heavily pregnant wife? Would we offer a room? Yes, we might have said, here is a warm room, here is a warm blanket, use whatever you want. But that didn't happen. Jesus was born in a smelly stable in the most unhygienic place to give birth to a child. But from those lowly beginnings, can we turn to the next slide, please? From those lowly beginnings, Jesus was, as Micah 5 verse 4 tells us, he will stand and shepherd his flock in the strength of the Lord, in the majesty of the name of the Lord his God, and they will live securely. For then his greatness will reach the ends of the earth. The only way this greatness can reach the ends of the earth is if we take that love of Christ to every single house, every single home. We cannot keep it to ourselves. Jesus came, as his prophecy says, he will stand and shepherd his flock in the strength of the Lord. Jesus will secure us. Jesus will give us strong foundations so that we will not be knocked down. Again, Sunday school song, wise man built his house upon the foolish man built his house upon the rains came down, floods came up, and the house upon the stand fell down. The love of Christ is here upon us. Are we going to have a solid foundation in that we know to reflect Jesus everywhere we go by sharing his love? The whole theme of Advent is taking the love, the joy, the love, and the hope. That's what Christmas is, but taking it every day, every moment. It's not just on a Sunday when we get dressed up for a church. It's not just when we're having a Bible study or a prayer meeting, but it's every single day, because that's the transformational love that we have experienced. And we need to take that love to other places. That's the divine love. Or if you look at the biblical terminology, it's called the agape love. The love that is never ending, that love that is everlasting, that is divine love of God. Here in this verse it says, Jesus shall be great to the ends of the earth, and he shall be our peace. This shows that the Messiah will lead, he will protect and sustain his people. But do we believe that the love of Christ is flowing within us? Do we believe that the love of Christ is giving us strength to overcome all odds and difficulties that are there around us? Sunny said, to enter the kingdom of heaven, we need to be like children. Children are the most bravest people. Like I can be honest. Like when I was younger, I would have taken the jump off this wall and fallen down, and I wouldn't break nothing, no bones, nothing would have happened. Now I have to think twice about this. Walking down the stairs, I'm like, I will slip or fall. But children are fearless because they have this. They're fearless because they know they're loved, they're protected, they have their parents around. In the same way, this prophecy tells us to be fearless. Because we have this love of Christ that has engulfed us, that we don't have to say, oh, this is going to come, this is still to come. It's already come. The prophecy was 700 years ago. We are now in 2025. We're heading into 2026. We are experiencing Christ's love every single day of our life. But are we taking it to places? Are we taking it to people? Are we sharing it with others? As we all prepare to celebrate Christmas in the coming feast, let's take time to reflect on these prophetic words in Micah chapter 5, verses 2 to 5. The promise of the birth of the Messiah Savior, who will come to rescue, redeem, and restore God's faithful people and enable us to experience God's loving grace through the birth of Jesus Christ, our Emmanuel. At Christmas, we celebrate not just a baby in a manger, but the shepherd who will stand for us. When life feels uncertain, Jesus stands firm. When we feel weak, Jesus feeds us. When we feel lost, Jesus leads us and finds us. Christmas might mean something different to each and every one of us. But now, let's take time to reflect on this passage and how it tells us that God is not just love, God is not just hope, but it's a promise to say that He will never ever leave us alone. It's a promise to say, as His loving children, are we fearless in taking His word everywhere? Because then God's greatness will reach the ends of the earth. Can we turn to the next slide, please? And in John 10, it beautifully puts, I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. Now, the interesting part about this verse is, if we read the previous verse, if you can turn to John chapter 10, verse 10. John chapter 10, verse 10. And it says, the thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I have come that they may have life and have it to the full. Only then does this verse make sense. I am the good shepherd. The shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. Christmas means something different to each and every one of us, but it's a time to remember who Jesus is in our life today, what Jesus means to us every single day, and how we can take this good shepherd, our Emmanuel, to those who are around us. The King of heaven stooped low enough to touch our wounds, yet strong enough to carry our souls. The purpose of his coming, can we go to the next slide? The purpose of Jesus' coming was to bring peace and redemption. And in John chapter 4, verse 5, it says, he will be our peace. And then in Galatians chapter 4, verses 4 and 5, it says, But when the set time had fully come, God sent his Son, born of a woman under the law, to redeem those under the law, that we might receive adoption to sonship. If this isn't love, then there is nothing else that I can tell you if you can't understand this. Paul tells us that Jesus came to redeem us, to buy us back from the slavery of sin. He paid the price of ransom not with silver or gold, but with his own blood. That means we are not bound by guilt, fear, or shame. Through Jesus, through his blood, we have been set free to live as the children of God. Verse 5 in Galatians says, to redeem those under the law, that we might receive adoption to sonship. Jesus didn't come to be our king. He didn't come to lord over us and make us his slaves or our cleaners or anything. He came so that we would be children of God, brothers and sisters. We sing the song, Abba Father, let me be yours and yours alone. That means we have a relationship, a personal relationship with God. And that is only possible because of His love when He sent His Son to be with us. God's goal was not just to forgive us, but to adopt us. God wanted sons and daughters, not servants. As Micah says in Micah chapter 5 verse 5, and He shall be our peace. Jesus doesn't simply bring peace. He is peace itself. At His birth, the angels declared peace on earth. On the cross, Jesus made peace with God for us. He said, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they do. It wasn't just for the Roman guards, the centurion. It was for the entire humanity. Because we had lost sight of what it means to embrace the love of God. And through His Spirit, Jesus brings us peace within, so that we can know and understand we have been adopted, not just in a family, but together in a community as Christians. So Christ lives in us. And we take that wherever we go, with whoever we meet, doesn't matter if they are Christian or not. Christmas is a time of love. But are we taking that love thy neighbor concept outside? Are we sharing that wherever we go? So, as Sunny gave an introduction, yes, I work for Tribal Transformation India. And tomorrow, we are actually going to two of our mission fields and 3 different places to distribute ready-made clothes to children within the creche, as well as within a community in Masur who are coming from the SC/ST background. Last month, we were in Borgall Girls' Home as well as Malwadi Boys' Home, and we distributed ready-made clothes. So it's a way of giving back. It's love thy neighbor, loving gift for Christmas. Christmas is not just about the food, the decoration, the lighting and all that. It's lovely. But as the Sunday school said, it is taking God's love and sharing it with others. It's as simple as that. I don't need to be doing this. The whole skit, I'm telling you. And the Sunday school teachers, I'm quite jealous of you because you guys did my entire sermon. I didn't need to do this. It was as simple as that. Their skits had it all. It is sharing God's love with each other. That's Christmas. That's neatly wrapped in a bow. You can pull the strings and open the Bible, and that's what it says. Because the Bible is a reflection of God's love for us. In Micah, reminds us that Jesus lives to be a shepherd, and in Jesus we have security. In Jesus we find rest, because Jesus is our hope, our peace, and our love. A love of a brother, a love of a father, a love of a king. A love that protects us from all things around us. We are not alone, never. In a world where there may be so many trials and tribulations, and Satan is always looking hope to see where we get too comfortable and fall, Jesus is our loving presence to comfort us, to guide us and say, don't worry, I've got your hand. I'm here right beside you. Instead of falling for Satan's traps, let us at this time, let this passage remind us to focus on Jesus this Christmas. Let us seek Jesus through prayer, through reading the Bible, sharing with each other the transformation love that we have received. As God's peace and security will protect us from everything that is shakeable, because God's love is what? Unshakable. Because God's love is our peace. God's love gives us presence. This passage reminds us we are not alone, now and forevermore. Amen.